you are listening to this message, it's because you have been selected so that your brand will take on another level of success, impact, and corporate results. La Mega Mundial is a multimedia instrument integrated with radio, television, virtual, and social platforms. 87.7 FM Atlanta, Open Television Channel 6 and 26.6. Central Global Broadcast System, www.lamegamundial.com. Also find La Mega Mundial on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We impact over 4.6 million people in the demographic area of Atlanta, converting ourselves into the radio medium of greatest impact in the state of Georgia. More than 60 million people can live the television radio experience by way of our open signal channels. Originality, creativity, dynamism, passion, and love for what we do at the service of your company. Contact us if you are ready to take your company to the next level. La Mega Mundial, a global system designed to connect with the world. Well, since I've started advertising on La Mega Mundial, yes, I have received a whole lot of calls for my ads on the station. Many more people know who I am, Monica de Jesus from Sandy Springs Toyota.
It has brought us a good number of new customers, whom we have never met before. We now have a new path with new customers. This has helped our business tremendously.
They don't just listen to you, but they also get to see you, get to know you. They can now put a face with your name and hear your voice. I don't know, it's just more personal. Thank you, La Mega Mundial.
We are Tucker Pawn and Jewelry, and we are with La Mega Mundial in the palm of your hand.
All right, folks, we are back, and this is the Marketplace and Jumpstart Reset Show. This is Tech Talk, and we are back. We took a little hiatus in terms of took a little backseat to the Paycheck Protection Program. It was important, time sensitive, and so we are back with our series. I should say segment number 3 on technology and e-commerce. But today we're going to look at the issue of how technology is transforming the media, entertainment, but specifically the film industry. We are seeing disruption and transformation across the board, and the film industry is no exception to this. And we are happy to have, and really excited to have, our strategic partner, our sister station, La Mega Mundial, that works closely together with us to be able to connect to our Hispanic brothers and sisters throughout the Latin market. And today we have one of its key directors, Victor Pena from La Mega Mundial. But also, Victor is not just simply someone in the media space. He's specifically someone who comes from a part of Latin America that we all know very, very well. Colombia, South America is where Victor is from, but Victor is someone who is well entrenched in the film industry, in the movie making, documentary business, and some of the stuff that you just saw are some of the products that he produced. I want to welcome our strategic partner, La Mega Mundial, one of the lead people and director at La Mega Mundial, Victor Pena. Victor, how are you doing?
Fine, Anthony. What an introduction. Thank you for this great opportunity to share experience and ideas and projects. It's for me an honor to be here, and I expect that this is a great conversation that we can have here. Absolutely.
And my colleague Michael Gerard is one of those future unicorns. His talent in terms of technology. He is a name. Please remember his name. He's a name that you're going to remember in terms of where technology's taken the financial industry. He and I have spent some time together in a large delegation when we took 20 members of the Virgin Islands community over to Taiwan, and Michael was part of that trade delegation. and we had a very, very productive trip. We learned a lot, and I'm really glad that he is part of the team. But more important, Victor, I think when we talk about us working together in a collaborative fashion, is how do we finally galvanize? How do we further strengthen the region instead of African Americans on this side and Latin American on the other side? No, we have a lot that's in common, and when we continue to go down different paths, we will continue to be divided. And what we need to find is what we have in common, what brings us together, that speaks to the strength of our ability to deliver a product or service in the market. And I want to just say thank you for the work you're doing at La Mega Mundial. And I want to really, I'm looking forward to how the CASE initiative and working with La Mega Mundial and yourself, your film company is called Tsunami. And that's a powerful name, Tsunami. Why did you call your organization Tsunami?
Tsunami is obviously a wave, a big wave, and when tsunamis come, they don't have nothing, and it's like a reset. Maybe it's not in a negative sentence or way, but we put tsunami because we have a lot of idea and projects, new projects that we just need to support this transformation, this evolution. We just need to take off everything and put new things on the map. For that reason, we say, hey, we work like a tsunami. We enter in the market, we erase all bad behaviors that we had there, and we just put new ideas, innovations, projects that already represent us. Because the strategy always be divide the projects, divide the people, divide the nations, and I think that now the strategy it's just unify. If we can share, talk, have these kind of conversations when we can touch maybe important points to make this transformation possible, we can start. If we start the conversation, we can start the transformation too. And now with all these beautiful digital tools in our hands, we can make a lot of things, and we can make project unstoppable projects that we can use these projects to project our roots, identity, needs, ideas, feelings, and all that. If we can start a conversation through all Latin America, all the Caribbean, in United States, and we can start the transformation of the people that we need, that need the culture with a huge presence or a big presence in their life. We need the cultures to be unified. If we don't know our own culture, and we don't know the other people's culture, we never can work unified, like just one big movement through all these beautiful places that is Latin America, Caribbean, and North America.
Absolutely. Yeah, Michael. Before we let me, I don't want to forget this thought before you jump in, yeah. Michael. Because of PVOD, Premium Video on Demand, we now have the ability to now connect with cultures across the globe. When I pick up my Netflix and I'm looking to entertain myself in terms of movie, Prime Video, Hulu, you now have the ability to type into the search window, I want to see a Nigerian movie, or I want to see an Asian movie, or I want to see a Latin movie. Before, it wasn't that seamless. It was not that easy. And so I find myself, once I get bored with, I've seen so many movies, and once I get bored with what I'm familiar with, I'm looking for a new experience. I'm looking for a new to learn more and to learn more about other people, other culture. And so technology today, like Netflix, like Prime Video, like Hulu and others, and all the other streaming platform, you're able to request many ethnicity, many culture in terms of really just learning about them. And that's just a sample of where we can go and what technology is empowering us to do. Go ahead, Mike. I didn't want to forget that. Go ahead, Mike.
No, that's a good point, Anthony. Thank you for mentioning that. And I think that's going to lead the segue and the conversation for the rest of this segment. Victor, it's really a pleasure to meet you. You're doing great things. I love what you stand for, and I love the analogy that you have in your in your name. If you think about the ocean and how it purifies, you basically, what you're saying, from what I understand, you purify the industry, and you're changing it, and you're innovating it, and including technology in it. And I think what I love about what you're doing, based on the little that I read, is that you're really taking us forward, right? You're really taking it forward. You're embracing technology. You don't see it as a hindrance. You see it as an enabler, and you strive to make that difference amongst your industry. So I definitely love that.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I talked with Anthony, and I said that we are we we try to be artists, but we work with technology. We make um, we make art with technology, and
Right.
then we are in the middle because we need to work with all this new technology, but we need to put that work in the people's hand, in the people's
Yeah.
mind, and we need to transform everything, a language, aesthetic, formats, and all that. You know, Someday I think that it was like 12 years ago. We was making a kid series in the Colombian TV. We won this prize to make this kid series, and then we're just trying to work with the film tools into the television format. And everybody say, "You're crazy. What are you doing? You need the smaller cameras and all that. You don't need to work with big lenses and this like the Canon 5D and all that. It's the cheapest camera, but with a huge potential into the film industry. And we just use that into a TV series. The the result was, I don't like the result, really, but it was a huge experience because with minimal tools, with cheaper tools, we can make great things. And it's
Right.
not just for me; it's for everybody. Now with the cell phones, 4K cell phones, you can find now program like this, DaVinci Resolve, that is free, and you can work with different editing, different kind of formats. I think that the
Yeah.
people need to know what the technology can do for us or for them, you know. But the main tool or the
Right.
key for this is that we can use the technology to unify, to find the common items or the common ideas that we have, like nations, because we always think that I'm a Colombian, different from the Dominicans, different from the Mexicans, and all that. Maybe, but if we have different characteristics, we have common characteristics too, and that's for me.
Right.
And that's the kind of things that we need to find to unify the language and the results. In that way, we can make massive transformation in our societies. Because I'm sure, I'm pretty sure that the only way that we can transform this dark reality is through the culture, is through the
Mm.
arts.
And I'm guessing you're seeking to do that through film, right? Through storytelling, through envisioning and showing people this is what this culture looks like. Just for the audience and people watching, I'm sure they would be curious to know what type of films you've done, in what areas. How are you thinking about mixing the different cultures into maybe a movie or a TV series? I don't know, right? So if you can speak a little bit of that, I think I'm myself and I think everyone else listening would love to hear that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure that it is. And the other, in the other hand, the problem in Latin America and the Caribbean is that we don't have the money sometimes to
Mhm.
buy this kind of tools, cameras, light, mics, everything that you need that is basic.
Yeah.
Then the other way that we find is, okay, we need to be empowered technically, and we start to buy our own tools, our own cameras, films, and all that. It represents money for us, but with with the time, we have everything to produce in a high level way, and then we don't need to spend too much money to make documentaries, to make whatever we want to do. And that's the reason that I think that we need to learn from the different cultures how to use our the money, the tools, the equipment, the talent, everything to produce not just money or income, but transformation in the all the social the levels on our own countries. And
Yeah.
then if you empower technology in a technology way, if you empower your budget, your business, you little by little you can reach high level and quality projects, and that's the way that we choose to do our
Yeah.
things.
I
The
agree. I heard about a film. Sorry, Tony. What you're saying actually reminds me of a film that came out, I would say about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more. It was filmed, I think, on using just smartphones, and I think it was an hour and a half long. But to your point, what they did was that they combined technology, their expertise, and a little bit of thought and innovation, and they created a film that looks pretty good. I didn't know initially that it was filmed on cell phones, and the production value, the quality was pretty high. So I love what you're saying.
the
Sorry,
you know
Tony.
yeah, no, 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 that's fine, because I have so many questions. And by the way, just as a little bit of a housekeeping, so on this show, we're looking at the industry, right? The film industry, and how technology is transforming the film industry. But tomorrow evening, Victor is going to be a guest on the entertainment show, and so that's where we're going to highlight a couple of the documentary that he made on the entertainment show. So there's a lot of content, so I wanted to kind of manage, dividing the content. So tomorrow evening, I want to just kind of remind folks and invite folks to tune in tomorrow evening at 8:30 to 9:30 to the Muse, because that's when I'm going to feature some of the documentary that he's made out of Colombia, South America. But I want to share a quote with you guys, and then I'll tell you who is the author behind the quote. It says here, "A community will evolve only when a people control their own communications." A community will evolve only when a people control their own communications. And it's that storytelling that, and by the way, that was Franz Fanon, that was Franz Fanon quote. But unlike the before, what we see in terms of the innovation in technology, in terms of production equipment, back then they were big, heavy, bulky, very expensive. And to the point that Michael and Victor just made, people are making, this is what it has come down to. Technology has redesigned the hardware. This is all you need is a smartphone. And like Michael said, where he saw someone produce a high quality movie with their smart device. And so how important is that in terms of where we are today, Victor, and someone who's been in the business? How much of a game changer? How talk to us and really tell us, because again, you're talking about coming from countries and regions that are very poor, not a lot of money, not a lot of resources, very talented, very smart, but don't have the means or the equipment to do it. How does technology change all that?
I just say at the start of this answer, just what do you think, guys, that all the billionaires have media companies?
Why do they have
what do they have media companies?
to control the messaging? The messaging. That's what it is. Yeah. They want to have the ability to when you talk about influencers, right? You want to be able to, if you are a market maker and you are a competitive force in the market, you want to be able to control what is said about you. Am I off base, guys? I mean, you guys just agree or what?
I think that's a standard thing. No, go ahead, Victor. Sorry.
No. Talk.
No, I was going to say that's the standard thing, right? If you think about the film industry for the last, or since filmmaking was created, right? Or even before that, radio. And today it's evolved a bit. We still have the film industry is still kicking and growing, but it's kind of taken a shift, right, to more vlogging type of filming, where they're creating mini series, content about 15 minutes long to 30 minutes. And if you think about them as influencers and how they get paid to say and do certain things or to try certain products, it's all around controlling the narrative of, the idea or image of a certain brand or person, or I would say movement, right? So to your point, Victor, there is a reason why billionaires, have media companies. It's just a no-brainer, and I think anyone in that position would do the same thing. It's almost obvious, right? If you're a billionaire, you probably have a diversified portfolio. You have stakes in several different companies, and you want to push an agenda. You want to push something or a certain image out in some way, shape, or form. At a minimum, you want to at least have the connections in the world to be able to influence certain people or to ask certain favors, right? So I think you're spot on.
When you say favors, you're talking about having the ability to influence laws, right? Whether on the federal level, state level, local level, right? Don't be shy about it, Michael.
Well, I mean, so we're having a large conversation right now, right? In terms of society, especially in America right now. And if you think about, which is, I think, more at a deeper level, what Victor is kind of referring to. If you think about when you're a kid, right? You're growing up, you're watching TV, you're watching films. Victor, I heard you mention that you guys created some kids series. You think about how you can instill a certain mindset, and how that can grow and change, the fabric of society in about 30 to 50 years, right? Because the new generation that kind of, grew up on this content is going to do certain things, right? And I think that's part of what we're going through right now in America. We're trying to figure out what is okay, what's not okay, what are things that we should be doing, what are things that we shouldn't be doing on in front of the camera. So I think, I think you're spot on. I think you both are spot on. So I'm trying not to get too much in detail with that. That's a rabbit hole. Look at Victor's smile. He knows it.
well, look. At the end of the day, right? When we talk about when you talk about a group of people, right? Their race, their ethnicity, their nationality, and you start looking at, they often say, in order to understand where you're going, you need to understand where you came from.
Blessed.
And so when you talk about, and people talk about culture, and a lot of times, sometimes, I get that people think somehow they think culture is static. Excuse me, sorry. They think culture is static. Culture is far from static. Culture, I think a lot of times people tend to use They confuse culture with history or heritage, right?
I would say traditions as well.
Or tradition, right? Culture is constantly evolving. It is the fabric of the society. So today, your culture is what it is today. We look at, for example, America, right? What America is today and what America was 200 years ago, it's not the same America. And so when you say American and the culture, that culture has evolved. And so the ability for filmmakers like Victor, who produce and direct films, the idea is to be able to capture the minds and the imagination of what that culture is. So when you talk about Victor being Colombian, from Colombia, and making movies, he's telling that story first and foremost from a perspective of being Colombian, but more so being Latin. And so that storytelling has a lot to do how culture is influenced. I don't know if I'm making sense. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say something about the last question to connect with this reflection is that basically the technology transformed that. The now the people have the capability to take their phones and build all this kind of revolution that Black Lives Matter did and start with just one cell phone, maybe five or six for the cell phone for all the people around this horrific thing that we saw. But one cell phone can start the revolution too, you know, and does the transformation. You don't need to have huge budget to transform the human being. I think that this is the most important or the key that that all the people that work with audiovisuals, with arts, we need to know, we need to use, we need to teach the people how to use this, and then we already are starting the revolution, the cultural revolution. Now, what is culture? I think that culture is an expression, uh, um, but this expression is just uh, adjust or transforming with the years, with the centuries, with the mm, I don't know how to say 1,000 years, millenniums.
Yeah.
Sorry for my limited English. I try to
No, no, no,
deliver.
no, no. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yes.
and then and then our culture today is the result of all these centuries, all 1,000 years working for. We have this knowledge and concepts and ideas in our mind. My mind is not just the result of the 46 years living in this planet. I have knowledge in my mind. I don't know that 200, 500 years ago, and and the right way is that I want to know who are or who was my ancestors. I just know like my grandpa and my grandma, and that it is now Japanese, Chinese people, European people. They know their ancestors. They have things around them, and you can say, okay, this sculpture have, I don't know, 5,000 years, whatever. We don't have that in Latin America. We don't have that roots, that structure, that we can say our expression is culture, but it is. And then if and I think that the other, in the other hand, the other thing that make tremendous um o sea, I think that the other important thing is how all the people around Latin America divide and put these countries and put people inside this country and make that these people can know the world, you know, can know each other culture. Even some Venezuelan people can go to Colombia. The Argentinian people can go to Colombia. In Colombia, the people inside Colombia can know, I don't know, Bolivian people, or Dominicans. We can travel. Who is the people that we see that travel around the world? The people that have money to do that. But with the technology, with movies, films, documentaries, we can put that information in front of all these people.
It gives them a voice. It gives them a voice. It gives them a voice where before, uh, you know, big companies, media companies, control the distribution of that information. The democratization of how people are able to communicate with each other has been completely disrupted, right?
That's the real transformation for me.
Okay.
I think
Before
that
we
is
had to, you can only get your information, you know, in terms of critical mass, radio, TV, right? That's how you know, print media, right? They control that, and that's why I said earlier on the other segment that the thing of where it's such I don't want to say controversial, but it's such a huge it's problematic to try to want to regulate the internet, because what the internet does, it literally it allows the average person to be able to harness the power of the internet, and to be able, and unless you are living in some sort of communist socialist society, when you're in a Western society, it's open to be able to connect and communicate and trade and exchange, and to learn and to entertain, and this is where I believe where people such as yourself, Victor, who are a filmmaker, a producer, director, that the world is, I mean, the opportunity to tell stories is so vast, because it just opens up, technology just opens up the floodgate of how you can,
unlimited.
it's unlimited. Tell that story, produce content. That's what I see in terms of the future of film, because no longer can the big studios, the big broadcasting companies, the big print newspaper, they no longer have a monopoly on this. You see, that's why Black Lives Matters can be as effective as they are, because again, the great equalizer is the internet and people who are oppressed in other parts of the world, in other countries, and they're crying out to want to be able to have their story told. And I believe that documentary, you're going to see a lot more documentary, in my opinion. You're going to see a lot more documentary, a lot more series that really speaks to the issue of where storytelling, filmmaking is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what, guys? I think that we are in the middle of this process, and this process just started like 5 years
Oh
ago.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and we are part of this transformation,
Right.
individually. But the great power, like Anthony say, is the connection. We are connected now. That
Right.
that
And that's why big studio, they didn't have a choice, even though it may cannibalize a certain part of their business, they needed to be able to have their own streaming platform, because they needed to be able to control where their product and who was in control of their content. Because being at the mercy of a third party Netflix or a Prime or Hulu, that worked for a time, but they realize if they're going to survive, that they needed to be able to develop their own streaming platform and having their own PVOD, premium video on demand platform, in order to advance, at least to sustain their place in the market in terms of their competitiveness. That's what I see. What I'd like to do is I'd like to play one of your. I'd like to take a break, and the break we're going to take is I'd like to play one of the different videos we have that you've produced in terms of the commercial side of things, right? Where you've produced commercials in Colombia, and take a look at some of the content in some of these commercials that you produced.
And if I can say a final thing, the big industry, they don't control now the subjects or the contents anymore. They don't control that now.
Fantastic. All right, we'll be right back.
If you're a small local business and you have not yet applied for your PPP forgiveness loan, you should know the deadline is fast approaching, and you need to apply now before May 31st, 2021. To apply now, go to www.applyppp.
All right, folks, we are back, and this is the Marketplace and Jumpstart Reset Show. I'm Anthony Weeks, executive producer and host, and this is our third segment and final segment for the day. This is our technology and e-commerce segment, Tech Talk, and today we are having a conversation about on two fronts. We're talking about how technology is literally transforming the film industry and how technology is enabling the film industry to better tell the story from a not from a regional perspective, because obviously when you think of the Americas, and the Americas is comprised of North America, Central America, Latin America, South America, and the Caribbean, and you're talking over 1 billion people, and a very diverse region when you think of the Pan American region, and so we've watched over the past year how a global health crisis called coronavirus, COVID-19, had literally changed the world as we know it. I don't know if you realize that. The world you knew prior to 2020, as early as 2019, was a vastly different world back then. And here we are in 2021. And so the future of what does the future hold and what does the future look like I think is the real awe-inspiring part about this whole journey, in terms of, what's next, where do we go? And the ability to be able to tell our story, to share our story, to connect with other people around the world is really what filmmaking is about. It's entertaining, it's educational, it's informative. And so, we need to approach and look at how that is being harnessed. And today, where you walk into a television studio and there was all these heavy, big, massive equipment, and then you had big cameras and everything else. You needed an army of people, and you still do today. I mean, in terms of big production, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying when you look at today, alternatively, you have the ability to tell your story by just simply using a smart device. And so today we have our strategic partner, La Mega Mundial, our Hispanic Latin market partner, La Mega Mundial, one of the folks who are responsible for what you hear and what you see at La Mega Mundial, Victor Pena. He's a filmmaker, a producer, and director from Colombia, South America, and we're having a conversation about him. He's going to be on tomorrow evening. We're going to actually share a couple of the documentaries that he produced, and so because that is our entertainment show, so we wanted to be able to leave that for tomorrow evening. But we have him now, and we're having a conversation with my colleague Michael Gerard here, who in his own right is an up and coming disruptor in the tech space, particularly in the fintech space as well. And so we're having that conversation. So you saw that? Did you see that video about Case? Did you guys see that?
Yep.
I produced that.
Good.
I have no training, no form of nothing. Just a willingness to want to, teach myself, educate myself, make the sacrifice to say, okay, I'm going to figure this out, right? And what you see is, yes, stock footage, but I needed to be able to create a theme, a concept, and everything from the color, the sound, the music, the graphics, all of that went into the production and really splicing it all together to deliver that message.
How much time do you use to produce?
I was about to ask.
I think I went to bed at 3:00 this morning.
Awesome.
I went
But
to
you
bed
know
at 3
what?
o'clock this morning. But yeah, it took
That's the
some.
other key. education. You have it's like a drive a car, you know. If you need to drive a car, you need to understand how the car works, and you need to learn. And maybe you need somebody that teach you how to do that. But it's normal. It's like everything. You need to learn. But time, you need to invest time. That maybe is the more valuable things that you have, your time. And in that way, you need to invest that to learn, to know, to understand, and all that. But I always say the I love all the planning process, because with just paper and a pen, you can avoid to spend thousands of dollars. You know, with planning, you can just have a beautiful story, a beautiful subject, a beautiful idea, and you can start to make this beautiful idea come true just with a paper and a pen. Thinking you can find something cheapest than this, transform and make all the things better just with a paper and a pen. That's the audiovisual process give us.
What does this mean for young people? I mean, for the young people that are watching this on television, we're live on terrestrial radio. Obviously, you know, we're streaming on social media. But what does this mean for young people in terms of, you know, for the young person who is trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, Victor, and they're looking for, trying to get a sense of direction. Talk to that young person that is viewing this conversation in terms of what that opportunity means.
Create a group, create a team, and put your ideas on paper. Write it, write everything, and start. If you don't start, you don't finish nothing. You need to start to do something, thinking, writing, whatever. And that's cheapest. The cheapest thing that you can do right now is think and write. That it is. All the great ideas around the film industry, or all the beautiful and great ideas that transform the humanity, start with somebody writing that idea. That it is. You don't need $100,000 to start. We just need a paper and a pen, and more people thinking like you in the same team. Putting, okay, I have a camera, the other guy have a light, this guy likes the sound engineering, and then have a mic and whatever, and we can start to work like a team. That's the only way that the humanity change the world, the planet, from the beginning. Work like a team. And then I don't know why the young people have the need to be millionaire tomorrow in just one day. You need to do a lot of things that things that you can make this dream come true, but it takes time. Don't be hurry. Just take your time.
But Victor, young people today, that's like another language. It's like a foreign. It's like you're speaking a foreign language to them. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear take your time. They don't want to hear to wait. They're I don't even think the microwave really speaks to that generation. Everything for them is like, you know, instantaneously. It's now.
That's a filter. That's a filter. That's a filter. It's like nature. If you don't make the things right, next, you're out. You're out. You if you want to be a millionaire, what do you need to do? Everything that you need to do. You need to put your mind on that, and every day work for that. That takes time. And
well,
that's
I think
a filter,
what you're
Anthony.
saying, No, you're right. I think what you're saying is that we should love the journey more than the actual million.
Exactly.
So we should be growing and developing ourselves, not only, growing as a person, but building connections, growing mentally, growing maybe spiritually if you're into that kind of stuff, growing physically to achieve some level of success. Because at the end, journey is what takes it and makes it whole, right?
My
So to
favorite,
your
my
point,
favorite word right now. My favorite word right now. I got to tell you, and this is going to sound weird because it's not a new word. It's been around from the beginning of the time. But my favorite word right now is organic. To do anything that I do, I'm involved with, it has to be natural. It has to be organic. I find that as wonderful as social media is, as wonderful it is, a lot of it, I think it's a lot of fluff, a lot of noise, a lot of smokes, a lot of, it's nobody wants to be organic anymore. Everybody, it's like, well, how many likes do you have? How many views do you have? How many friends do you have? For me, I have come to learn, if yes, technology is a beautiful thing, but technology can be manipulated. Technology can be manipulated to do whatever it is that you want it to do. And I believe today that when we talk about where and what we can do, I believe that things should happen, but happen naturally. You shouldn't force it. You shouldn't try to cajole it. It should be organic.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. I would also add a snippet, I guess, to kind of add more value to what you're saying. I do agree with the fact that social media as a whole has a lot of fluff. It has a lot of surface level things that don't really do a lot for us personally as individuals. But I will say this, kind of going back to what we were saying earlier and how the film industry has changed. A lot of that got driven through social media. And I'm not an advocate for social media. I was out of social media for over 8 years. I just got back on not too long ago.
Wow.
So I'm just coming in new, and I'm a young person. So that's very strange.
Yeah,
It's very strange. But what it did give me was clarity, because I saw all of my friends, all of my family members who were on social media. My mom was on social media, and I wasn't on social media.
He's not, but his mom was.
Yeah, it was very strange. But what it gave me was perspective, and I saw the good and the bad things. And I think the bad thing about social media is that it kind of sells us on what Victor was saying earlier, which is we want to rush to that million because we think that that million is what defines us. And that's why you're seeing a lot of people. There's a lot of people right now that are dropping into their millions, and they're realizing that they're not happy. They're missing a lot of things along the way. And that's a cultural problem that we have right now in our generation, especially millennials and a generation after. We don't understand what it is to grow as a whole. But what I will say is that social media adds some value in the area of business. So if you do have something that you want to sell, if you do have something that you want to, or a message that you want to get out there, it's very useful, right? So having a certain following, having a certain amount of likes, that's very good. Now, again, that is goal driven. That is driven by, I want to do something on this platform that's going to do something for me. It's going to do something for the people who are on the platform. It's going to benefit them and add value to them in some way. It's going to add value to me and everyone around me that I know personally, friends and family. And that is beautiful, right? If you think about Victor, for example, he can go on social media right now and release some of his films. He probably would do a documentary, a small series or a movie, and he can use social media as an avenue to bring a message of whatever he wants to show. He's been talking about culture for a while now, and I think he has a lot of good things to share on culture. Maybe he wants to share that. Maybe he wants to unify the Caribbean, and that's a perfect avenue to say, hey, this is something that we can do. But he's not going on there and posting pictures of a $5,000 wine, or something like that. That's vain, and that's things that doesn't bring any value to anyone. But what does bring value is a message. What brings value is some product or service that you're selling. That's going to make someone else's life better. And that's something that we rely on core, right? That's why social media is at the center of a lot of things that we do. It's not because we necessarily love it. It's more about that's where our demographic are. That's where they live. That's where they consume content. My goal is to educate people on personal finance. My goal is to reach them, is to change their life a bit, just to add some value to them. And for that reason, it's important to show and grow and have that message. And I'm sure social media is going to evolve at some point in the future. But I think for now, there should be some distinction. I'm like posting on this because I have something that I want to, benefit or help people, or am I just posting random things or consuming content that's not doing anything for me? And I think if we had that mindset, a lot of the things that we see on social media that we've been seeing for the last 10 years, we wouldn't see. We wouldn't see just some weird, really awful content sometimes that we see on there, right? Because the goal behind it would have been very different. At least that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time, and so just Victor, any closing remark, just real quickly? And by the way, the video I'm going to go out with is I don't know if he personally produced the video, but this is his video, and so it's pretty good. So, but
no,
you'll get a sample of the video, right? So, Victor, any closing remarks, please?
You can use the social media for your interest, or you can let the social media use you for their interest.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Perfect way of saying
that was eloquent. That's a perfect way to end the program, folks.
That's
Victor's
right.
going to be with us tomorrow evening on the Muse at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9:30 tomorrow on the Muse.
Great meeting
We will
you.
talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Have a good day.
Right now, 91 million Americans are financially overlooked. 48% have a fear of finance. 2 in 3 lack the ability to manage their finances. We solve this issue by combining financial literacy and financial management into one seamless app. 1. Have your financial goals align with your values. 2. Track your money and forecast how big decisions will impact your virtual accounts. 3. Build financial literacy at your own pace. Our competitors are rigid, disconnected, and impersonal. They represent the old way of doing finance. That's not who we are. We personalize your finances for you because we know one size does not fit all. We're democratizing personal finance. Join the tribe at Core Finance and at Core Finance.